Good day everyone. Today I will be discussing about the guidelines in designing teaching strategies.
Let us start with set induction. Set induction is a strategy for opening up hall of knowledge to the students in an atmosphere of positive mental set of an involuntary attention to the lesson. It allows us to be on the right foot with our students. Set induction allows the teachers to gather the students' attention, thus the lesson can go smoothly. And it also assures us as a teacher that we have our students' interest and as well as their participation. The next one is establishing the appropriate frames. So clear understanding is often difficult in the absence of appropriate frames of reference. So examples and references are important, especially when we are giving complex lessons. Now, they help students to understand the content better, guarantee that the examples are within the scope. So your examples should be appropriate with your subject matter, in your students, as well as their age, their culture, and their experiences. For instance, you're giving a lesson about how digestive system convert food into energy. So you can make use of the vehicle as an example to show or to explain how fuel is converted into an energy to make the vehicle run, the same as the body is digesting the food for it to move in the same manner. So you can make use of analogies, metaphor, or concrete examples. So the third one is planned repetition. So repetition is important in giving a lesson because it maximizes the acquisition and as well as the retention of your students. However, repetition alone is not enough, so it is important that it is planned. Simple repetition is the repetition of word, concept, or of formula right after mentioning it. For example, our body have 206 bones. Can you believe that our body have 206 bones? I mean, that's a lot of bones. So that is an example of a simple repetition because you repeated the idea of our body having 206 bones right after mentioning it. The next one is special repetition. So this is a repetition of words or concept in certain stages during the lesson to put emphasis. So this will help students to know that that particular word or particular concept is important for them to remember. Example, at the beginning of the lesson, you discuss the difference between locomotor and non-locomotor, and in between, you would repeat that locomotor is a movement that requires you to move from one place to another, while non-locomotor are movements in stationary. So they will be able to understand the difference between locomotor and non-locomotor because you repeated it for them. So they would not be confused about the two different concepts. The next one is cumulative repetition. This is a repetition of major points at the end of the lesson before proceeding to the next one. It guides your students in the transition of the old lesson to the new. It helps them distinguish the relationship between the two lessons, the connection between them. How does the first lesson connect to the second one? The last one is mass repetition. So it is the repetition of all major points made in the lesson. It is also called as summary. So this helps your students recall all that has been discussed throughout the lesson proper. The next one is stimulus variation. So good and effective teaching involves varying learning experiences and teaching strategies during the lesson. So it is important that your approach as a teacher is dynamic and flexible towards your students. You want to give them the 5S experience, meaning you would cater their 5 senses. So this will make your class interactive, fun, informative, and interesting at the same time. It is important that you allow them to move, to interact, and to discuss instead of bombarding them with information. So the last one is closure. Evaluating is important in this part because it is the end process of teaching. It is not just about evaluating your students of what they learn through examination, but also about how effective your strategy or design is. It evaluates the teacher, the student, the lesson, and the institution as well.